Ever feel like traditional music theory is a bit like, trying to decipher hieroglyphics?
It can definitely feel that way sometimes.
Right. Like, where do you even begin? But what if there was a way to break free from those old rules and, rewire your brain to experience music in a whole new way?
Well, you're in luck. That's exactly what today's deep dive is all about.
We're diving headfirst into the world of MUMEx, that's multiverse music exploration, and trust me, this is going to get really interesting.
It's a wild ride, that's for sure.
So the mastermind behind all of this is composer Louis Siciliano, and his big claim is that MUMEx can help anyone unlock their musical potential, no matter your background, even if you've never played a single note.
That's the beauty of it, right? It's not about what you already know. It's about opening yourself up to a whole new world of musical possibilities.
Exactly. And to get there, we're drawing on some pretty fascinating forces, including Siciliano's own book, which is a wild ride in itself. But here's where things get really interesting. MUMEx pulls inspiration from some pretty unexpected places.
We're talking quantum physics, fractals, ancient Greek philosophy, pygmy tribe rhythms, Indian classical music. It's a real melting pot of ideas.
Talk about eclectic taste.
Ah,
It's like he threw everything into a blender and out popped this incredible new language of music.
and that's a great way to put it because MUMEX is all about communication, about finding new ways to express yourself through sound.
So how does it actually work? What makes it different from traditional music theory?
Well, for starters, forget everything you know about sheet music.
Wait, really? No more treble clefs and time signatures?
Gone. MUMEX uses a simple numerical system instead. Think +1, -5, that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's like learning a new alphabet for music.
Precisely. It's all about breaking down those mental barriers and approaching music from a place of pure intuition.
That's pretty cool. But I have to admit, it sounds a little intimidating. Like, where do you even start?
Well, imagine stepping into a musical multiverse. Think of it like exploring different countries, each with its own unique culture and customs.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these musical countries.
In MUMEX, we call them universes. Each universe has its own set of musical rules or frameworks, its own distinct flavor, if you will. You've got your alpha universe, your beta universe, your gamma universe.
It's like a musical atlas.
Yeah.
But instead of countries, we're charting sonic landscapes. I like it.
Exactly.
Mm.
And just like any good atlas, there's always more to explore. Each of these universes has different dimensions.
Dimensions. Like, are we about to enter the Twilight Zone here?
Not quite. Think of it this way. You walk into a house in the alpha universe. Right. Each room has a different vibe, a slightly different feel, even though they're all part of the same house. Those are the dimensions at play.
Okay, so we've got these different musical universes, each with its own set of rules. And within those universes, we have demands that add even more layers and complexity.
Got it. But where does the actual music making come in? Where's the spark of creativity?
That's where Z comes in.
Z, as in the end of the alphabet. Exactly. Siciliano calls it the commutative force. And it's like that unexpected plot twist in a movie that just totally works.
Okay, I think I'm following. So it's not just about following the rules of a specific universe or dimension. It's about having this element of surprise, this Z force that can shake things up.
Precisely. It's what keeps the music exciting and unpredictable.
So it's like adding a bit of controlled chaos into the mix, a dash of sonic spice.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between structure and freedom. And that's what makes MUMEX so captivating for both listeners and musicians.
We've only just scratched the surface and my mind is already buzzing. I can't wait to dive deeper. So we're talking about musical universes, dimensions, this Z force. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is. But once you start seeing the patterns, the connections, it's like a whole new world opens up.
And speaking of connections, one thing I find fascinating about MUMEx is how it seems to mirror these bigger concepts we see in the natural world.
Absolutely. Like the idea of duality, for example.
Yeah, like light and shadow, yin and yang, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Siciliano talks about this in terms of the solar and lunar aspects of music. Think of it
Right.
like a call and response. You have a bright ascending melody that could be considered solar, and then a descending, maybe a bit more melancholic melody played at the same time. That's its lunar counterpart.
Oh, I see. So it's like creating this musical conversation between these two opposing forces. Like each one needs the other to exist.
Precisely. And here's where MUMEX takes it a step further. These opposing forces, they don't have to come from the same musical universe.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you could have a solar melody from the alpha universe interacting with a lunar harmony from the beta universe. It creates this this incredibly rich and textured sound.
Whoa, it's like you're blending colors from different palettes. Like
Yeah.
you take two primary colors, but depending on how you mix them, you end up with an endless array of shades and hues.
I love that analogy because it really is about being like a sonic painter, right? You're
Okay.
experimenting with sounds and rhythms from different universes to create something totally unique.
So it's not just about playing by the rules, it's about understanding how to bend them, break them even, to make something truly original. Which brings me to my favorite topic, rhythm.
Ah, yes. The heartbeat of music.
Exactly. So tell me, how does rhythm work in the MUNEX system? Is it as mind-bending as everything else we've talked about?
Oh, absolutely. This is where things get really interesting. Siciliano dives into something called Tetractis rhythmica.
Detractase. Rhythmica. Okay, you have my attention.
The name sounds intimidating, I know. But it's actually pretty simple, at least in theory.
I like simple.
So imagine you're building a rhythm with like Lego blocks of different sounds.
Okay, I can visualize that.
Tetractis rhythmica basically gives you 4 basic units to work with 1, 2, 3, and 4. But these numbers represent proportions within a rhythmic cycle, not like specific note values.
Interesting. So instead of thinking in terms of like quarter notes or eighth notes, you're thinking about like rhythmic ratios, these like building blocks of time.
Exactly. And by combining these units in different ways, you can create incredibly complex and interesting rhythms.
So it's like taking those Lego blocks and creating all these different structures, some simple, some incredibly complex, but all based on those same basic units.
You got it. And the best part is, this way of thinking about rhythm, it's not just some arbitrary system that Siciliano came up with.
It's not.
No, it's actually rooted in ancient Greek philosophy and mathematics.
Whoa, really? I never thought I'd see the day when ancient Greek philosophy and like funky rhythms collided.
Right, and it doesn't stop there. Siciliano also talks about incorporating fractal rhythms into MUMEx, inspired by patterns found in nature.
Fractal rhythms.
Yeah.
So we're talking about music that mirrors like the branching of a tree or the spiral of a seashell.
Precisely. It's about finding those hidden connections, those echoes of universal principles that manifest in both the arts and sciences.
This is blowing my mind. I mean, to think that music can reflect the patterns of the natural world, even at the level of rhythm. It's just, wow.
It is pretty amazing, right? And it's a testament to MUMEX's ability to connect these seemingly disparate fields. Music, math, nature, it's all connected.
It really is. And I have a feeling we're just getting started. I don't know about you, but I'm still reeling from those fractal rhythms. It's like music and nature doing this incredible dance together.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it, but that's the thing about MUMEX, it just keeps revealing these deeper layers of connection.
Totally. And speaking of connections, there's one concept we haven't touched on yet that seems pretty crucial to understanding how all these pieces fit together, the macro basic array.
Ah, yes, the macro basic array, a composer's secret weapon.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. What exactly are we talking about here? Some kind of like sonic supercomputer?
Well, the term was actually coined by saxophonist and composer Steve Coleman.
Oh, right. I've heard of him. A true innovator.
Absolutely. And his concept of the macro basic array, it's like, imagine a composer's toolbox.
Okay, I can picture that.
But instead of hammers and nails, you've got melodic ideas, rhythmic patterns, harmonic progressions, all organized and ready to be used.
So it's like a system for like developing and organizing your musical ideas.
Exactly. Think of it like that you have a melody in your head, a simple melody, a musical seed, if you will.
Right.
The macro basic array, it gives you the framework to take that seed, nurture it, and help it grow into something much more complex and beautiful.
So instead of just having a melody floating around in your head, you use the macro basic array to give it structure, to build upon it, create variations, that kind of thing.
Precisely. It's like a blueprint for improvisation.
And this is where MUMEx comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's like they work together.
They do. It's a beautiful partnership. MUMEx provides those raw ingredients, those different universes, dimensions, the Z-force, all that good stuff. And then the macro basic array gives you the tools to like arrange those ingredients, experiment with them, see what kind of musical magic you can create.
It's like MUMEx gives you the ingredients from all over the world, and then the macro basic array is the recipe book that helps you turn them into this amazing fusion dish.
I love that analogy. It's about understanding the fundamentals, but also having the freedom to break the rules, to create something truly unique and personal.
Absolutely. But this whole conversation, it makes me think about the bigger picture, like we've been talking about these different universes within MUMEx. But how does that connect to the idea of the multiverse? like the one we hear about in physics and cosmology. Is that a direct link or more of a metaphor?
It's interesting you asked that because it's actually more than just a metaphor.
Really?
Yeah, because in the same way that some physicists believe there might be multiple universes existing at the same time, each with its own set of physical laws, MUMEx presents this idea of a musical multiverse, like different musical systems and approaches existing side by side.
So you're saying that just like in those sci-fi movies with parallel dimensions and stuff, there could be all these different musical universes out there. That's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild. And just like those different dimensions in sci-fi might have different rules about like time and space, the different musical universes in MUMEx, they have their own sets of rules about harmony, rhythm, melody, that kind of thing.
But the cool thing is they don't have to stay separate, right?
Yeah.
There's that potential for crossover, for things to get mixed up and create something totally new.
Exactly. And that's where the real magic happens. Like, what happens when a melody from the Alpha universe meets a rhythm from the Tau universe? The possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's like opening a portal to a whole new dimension of sound, a place where the only limit is your imagination.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of MUMEx. It encourages you to think beyond those limitations, to embrace the unknown, and just keep exploring the infinite possibilities of music.
This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from deciphering a new musical language to pondering the mysteries of the universe all in one go. It's left me feeling completely inspired and ready to hear more, learn more, explore more.
Me too. And that's the thing, the journey doesn't end here. Like, if music can be a map to understanding the universe, as Siciliano suggests, what other hidden connections are still out there just waiting to be discovered?
That's such a great question. And how can we take these ideas, these concepts from MUMEx and use them to unlock new creative pathways, not just in music, but in life? It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. And on that note, I think we'll leave our listeners with those questions to ponder.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of MUMEx. It's been a wild ride.
Until next time.
Keep those ears open and those minds curious.